Hello everyone, I'm Aveline. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So we are building a bigger Scandinavian family home today. I felt like it had been a while since I'd done a bigger family home, to be honest. I do a lot of tiny houses and that is also fine because I love doing tiny houses, but I gotta make sure that I don't forget that there are definitely people out there that prefer these bigger family homes. So that is what we're trying to focus on today. And since it had also been a while since at least I feel like it had been a while since I'd done anything like Scandinavian family home as well, I decided to basically go on Pinterest and go through all the pinned houses that I have to see if I could find one that I really felt like building at the moment, if you get what I mean. So I've had this one saved on my boards for a while too, and I thought it's not so much the house itself that is interesting from the original house, to be honest. It's all the landscaping going on at the front of the house. So I was trying to recreate that as well. Obviously for the back, I don't have any pictures for that, so kind of had to make up my own thing. And I feel like it turned out okay, but there's a lot going on in the backyard, just so you know. Actually, I think the original house didn't even have a backyard, so kind of just had to make up my own thing completely. But the house itself is pretty simple. It is a big box with there's some additions to it on the exterior a little bit, and of course also another box on the right side of the house. So also I didn't have a floor plan picture either, to be honest. It's basically just like what I took inspiration for was mainly the facade of the house and also the landscaping, like I said, because I really like the landscaping around this house. So that is what we're doing today. This is for a family of 5, so they are 2 parents. I think it's a pair of twin kids and then a teen. The thing is, I've already built a house that is going up tomorrow, so I'm kind of like gonna be mixing those two together a little bit in my head when I'm doing the voiceover. That is just a thing. I don't know. I don't know why it works like that, but it just does. So I am also gonna try to keep track of my floor plan that I always have up on my other monitor while I do voiceovers. But I don't know, sometimes I don't know, I just mix the two together sometimes when when I've built 2 houses in a row and then I haven't done the voiceovers for either of them, I just have a tendency to kind of mix them together a little bit. But I hope you guys are looking forward to that one as well. Like I said, it's going up tomorrow. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but I ended up having a little bit of a migraine evening. It was great. So instead of streaming, what I did was I was building on off while taking breaks because tonight I am having a wine night with a friend of mine, but I still wanted a video up on Sunday. If you know Kristen, by the way, I mean, she's been in the Sims community. She doesn't really upload a lot anymore, but she's the one that I'm having a wine night with. We are going to be talking over Discord and everything while just chilling and playing. I think we're going to play a little bit Phasmophobia or something, just having a chill evening. So I wanted to make sure that I had a build ready for tomorrow that can go up. So yeah, I built actually, I was about to say I built it very quickly, but I really didn't. I really did not. I wasn't done until like 2:30 a.m. It was the same one with this house, actually. I was building on this until like 2:30 or maybe 3 a.m. Usually I try to make sure that I can take my evenings off, so like shut down everything at midnight and then just go read. But I was not in this case. It's fine though. I wanted to make sure, it's just because I was taking my time, I wanted to make sure that everything turned out the way that I really wanted it to. I didn't want to rush anything, if you get what I mean. Like, I wanted this house to be good. So yes, not that I ever don't want my houses to be good, but I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, usually I just shut down my computer at 12 is my point. So anyway, but I do realize how you can turn that around and be like, wait, so you rush through your builds normally? No, I don't. Anyway, that wasn't my point. But yeah, I hope you guys will like this house. We played around with platforms a little bit. Obviously, there's not a lot of grass visible. There's no grass visible on this lot, almost. Outside of like the garden and the front yard, yes, so like on the sides of the house. But I definitely covered it up a lot. So what I felt like doing to fix that was I used this grass that you can see right here with the little white flowers. I used that to kind of make like grassy patches in the landscaping. I did the same for the back of the house, just so it would look like there was, how do you say this, like a depth to it, if you get what I mean. So it's not just like, because you know the grass from the terrain paint is just flat. I didn't want it to look like that. I wanted there to be a little bit depth to the grass on this lot for some reason. I felt like that just looked right. So I also ended up using some of that up on the platform, where obviously you can't even paint with terrain paint. So I had to fix that in some way because I still wanted there to be a little bit of landscaping, some plants on the platforms as well. So I decided to use the same grass on there too. I know it gets a little confusing, but it's also not, I don't ever use that item. I don't ever use that grass patch. I don't know, I just don't. But it really worked on this lot. I feel like it actually helps me, or helped me, add more plants to the landscaping that I would have been able to without it. So yeah, there also had to be a lot going on around this house because the house itself, like I said, is pretty simple. It's like a box with a box next to it and then a box on top as well. It's a very boxy house. It actually wasn't that difficult to do. Well, I want to take that back. Never mind. It was not fun to do the voiceover. Why did I almost say that? It was not fun to do the floor plan. I was about to say it wasn't actually that difficult, but it really was not fun. I don't think I even included it in the video because it took me so long to figure out. I don't know, but because the house is so simple, I also had to make sure that there was a lot going on with the landscaping to kind of make up for it. Because, you know, otherwise it all would have turned out a little bit too simple, and we don't want that either. I don't know if it's just me, but boxy houses in The Sims are hard to make work, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like they look wrong a lot of the time, so like you have to add a lot of details to them, or do a lot of landscaping, or I don't know, add like ivy or wisteria or something to the house, because they just look so wrong, too simple. I don't know what it is. It looks super realistic in real life, but then, I mean, obviously. Anyway, but then in The Sims, it just doesn't look right. I also had to play around with windows a little bit. I mean, it is a more, it's not really a traditional looking house, so it's okay if you go a little crazy with the windows, but still have to make sure they kind of work together in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's very much up for interpretation. What you feel might work together might not work together for me, so you know, but like shape-wise, when it comes to windows, it's a little bit fun to play around with on certain houses, and this was one of those houses where I had to kind of play around with it a little bit because the original house had windows that we don't have in The Sims, so I had to improvise a little bit, if you will. So I started with a kitchen, as I always do. The floor plan looks funny, but it works. I feel like it works. I had this like big space in the middle of the house. Again, it's an issue with boxy houses where you don't have any windows in the middle of the house. So you can't really put like an actual room there because you're going to end up with a room with no windows. And I don't know about you, but unless it's like a hidden library or I don't know, a closet or something, I don't like rooms that don't have windows. They don't make sense to me. So, I mean, you could also turn them into bathrooms, to be honest. Bathrooms is one of those, as long as it has like a good ventilation system, it doesn't really need a window. But other than that, it's kind of, I prefer kitchens with windows. Of course, you could also add it to the middle of the house, but I prefer kitchens with windows. They don't need to have them, but I prefer them to have windows. So I decided to make this little like hallway space in the middle of the house. If you can see it like right now. I know it's super confusing when you haven't gone through the floor planning with me during the video. I know that's confusing to some of you, but it took me so long that I really did not want to include it. I knew that it was going to take me a long time, so I didn't even record it. But hopefully you can make sense of where we are in the build at the moment. See, even having built like, I don't even know, 300 to 400 houses, I still have struggles with floor planning now and then. So yeah, that is the thing. But mostly when it comes to boxy houses, like squares or rectangles, I just know. The only thing I knew for sure in this house was that I needed a bathroom on the ground floor. I needed to fix the situation with the middle of the house, and the part on the right side of the house, I wanted to turn that into a living room because there was a perfect spot for the fireplace. So aside from that, I didn't really know what to do. I was playing around with making like an open staircase situation so that you can like look down on the second floor from the or on the first floor from the second floor, if you get what I mean, like a mezzanine level sort of situation. But then I wouldn't have had room to make more than 2 bedrooms upstairs, so I decided against it as well. So they actually have 3 bedrooms upstairs plus 2 bathrooms. The teen has been very lucky to have their own bathroom, which, I mean, that's just what I had to do with the floor plan. Okay, you'll see in a second. But I was playing around with the whole like open situation for a little bit. Then it turned out that that was not really doable because of the bedrooms, the amount of bedrooms that I could place in. So we closed that off as well. But that meant that the whole bottom floor was just going to be like common areas, so like kitchen and dining area and living room. There isn't even like an office or anything. They have an open laundry room as well, which is in the mudroom to the left of the kitchen here. If you look at the house from the front door, you can see, I actually don't think I decorated that on cam. I'm not really sure. I don't know. Before I started like editing everything, I had like 35 minutes of footage. That's sped up, by the way. I don't know how much footage I had before speeding it up, but it was 35 minutes, so I had to cut it down a little bit. I might have cut it out just to make sure that the video didn't end up being like 40 minutes long, because I feel like that's quite a long video for a 40 by 30. Oh, by the way, we're building on a 40 by 30. I think we're building in Newcrest today. I'm pretty sure we're building in Newcrest today, so I forgot to say that at the start of the video. I am really sorry, but I feel like these houses just fit in better in Newcrest, so I'm pretty sure that's where we're building today. But as for the laundry room, like I said, I'm pretty sure that I did not include the footage in the video. However, there's, as always, pictures at the end of the video if you want to see what it looks like before you decide if you want to download the house or not. Also, I'm still considering if I want to start doing tours instead of screenshots, because a lot of you seem to be really into that idea, so I'm still like trying to figure out how I can fit that into my recording and editing, because it does require me to be on cam for the tour. At least I feel like it does. It just seems more personal that way. Or I don't know if personal is the right word to use, but something like that. So I'm still playing around with still trying to figure out when I can do it during the day, if that's what I want to start doing for the tours or for the end of the videos. So obviously not today, since I've added pictures, but for future videos, I'm still playing around with the idea, so always let me know what you think. If you prefer tours over screenshots, definitely let me know. But this right here is the, what's it called? Oh gosh, living room. Why did I completely blank out for a second? Anyway. So I made this little all I knew before I started decorating. I have this idea for some rooms, so I'll just build the rest of the room so that it fits with that idea. I wanted the bottom floor, that's what it's called, what? The far wall to basically be covered in these customized closets, no, that's not what it's called either. Bookshelf situation, if you will, from Dream Home Decorator. I ended up placing down 2 windows just because it looked kind of weird from the outside, just having a flat wall without any windows. So I couldn't really fill up the entire wall anymore, but it's fine. I actually think it would have looked weird just having a completely 5-tile flat wall with no window or anything, and then just a lot of bookcasery things, if you will. But it's essentially made out of both the bookcases and a couple of the shelving things from Dream Home Decorator. There's also a couple of cabinets, actually. Yes, the ones that you use in the kitchens. But I like how they look here. And I also used a base game shelf too. I was about to use 2, but 1 felt like enough because I needed these pictures that are leaning on the wall to be placed up there. We still need more of those. They're just nice wall decor without actually being stuck on a wall. I don't know I just like them. We need more of them. I do realize that we also have some from Get Famous, but they don't really fit in the same way that the ones from Equal Lifestyle and the base game ones do, so I need more. Life would be so much easier sometimes if, yes, life, anyway, because Sims is life, yes. if I used CZ, but I don't really. I might in some builds, but I'm still undecided on that too. So for now, CZ free, but definitely want more of those though. As for the remainder of the living room, I don't think I've used this flooring right here for ages because I don't actually really like the color of it. I don't, it's too orange for my liking, but sometimes you gotta use stuff that you don't necessarily like. These houses are not built for me. Personally, I would not want flooring in that color, but this family that lives here might like it, so sometimes you just gotta build stuff that aren't necessarily your taste completely. And I felt like for the rest of the house, not like this main part in the middle, but for the rest of the house, so also upstairs, I ended up using that floor and it works in this house. I have a tendency to kind of rush through hallways a lot of the time, or like foyers or whatever you call them, where you step into the hall entrance halls. I know they have a lot of names. It's kind of difficult to figure out which one to use. So you don't need to correct me, by the way, anyway. But for this one, I wanted to make sure that it had like a touch of something in there. I ended up using some of these wall decor pieces from Eco Lifestyle instead of railing actually. And it turned out that I really liked the way that that looked, so I might use that in the future. And just a quick note, yes, this is the parents' bedroom. I forgot to record some of it. I am so sorry, I did not notice until I'd basically finished recording, but I was hoping to place some clutter pieces around so you could still see what the room looked like. You can also see it at the end of the video with the screenshots and everything, but sometimes it just happens, and instead of deleting everything and it won't look the exact same way, I'm just gonna apologize for being a dum-dum and not clicking on my record button. I think the thing that happened was that I was decorating a bathroom on the ground floor or something, maybe up here on the second floor, I don't remember exactly. And then at the end of it, just like out of habit, I clicked on the stop record button. But because I decided not to record the bathroom, I ended up clicking on the start record button. So once I got to the parents' bedroom, when I was supposed to click on start record, I accidentally clicked on stop record. Yes, are you confused? I'm sorry. But that's the whole thing. It happens sometimes, so that's just how it is when you make videos. But I do like how the parents' bedroom turned out. It was very simple, but there's a nice feel in there, and I had a little bit of fun with the shape of the bedroom as well because it's a little bit like the children's bedroom right here is actually bigger than the parents' bedroom. However, I also feel like the parents kind of have the rest of the house, if you get what I mean, whereas the kids mainly have all their toys in their bedroom. So it just made sense. Sometimes I do it the other way around, like it's, the parents get priority because they're the parents, but it's their house. But I feel like they maybe have thought like, okay, we got twins, they're probably a bit on the wilder side, they need a little bit more space, let's make sure the rest of the house is a little bit more tidy, so they get to have a lot of toys in their bedroom instead, and therefore we're gonna give them the bigger bedroom. I'm pretty sure their bedroom is bigger than the parents' one, because I'm pretty sure this is a 4x5 or something. So whereas the parents' bedroom is kind of like a little bit narrower where the bed is, but it's fine. Details. Anyway, so where the rest of the house is pretty, well, I wouldn't actually say neutral. I've been using subtle colors. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's definitely neutrals, but mixed with like touches of color. So the kitchen was probably the best example of that because it's very like, I almost want to call it pastels actually in the kitchen, whereas I decided to go for some more saturated colors in the living room and also up here on the second floor because it fits with the floor better. But the kitchen turned out to be quite blue, and I don't know, I just felt like for a change, I just wanted to use one of the colors for the counters because I don't think I've done that other than maybe use the green ones. So I was really drawn towards the blue. I don't know. Anyway, we're supposed to talk about the children's bedroom. I just remembered that I hadn't really touched on the kitchen, but I really like how the kitchen turned out. It's kind of like I placed down everything and then I was just looking at it. And also this is the teen's bedroom, by the way. It was very difficult to decorate this place because there are 3 doors and it's a 4x4 as it is. It's a very small bedroom. And then with 3 doors on top of that, I don't know. It was a struggle, but they also have a little terrace space outside. So, you know, they have a little bit of extra space, even though they probably can't use that space during like thunderstorms or would prefer not to use it during the rain or something like that. But as for the kitchen, I placed down everything and then I was looking at it like this looks a little bit too, I don't know, monotone, a little bit too simple. So I started like thinking, how can I add just some color to the kitchen? And I decided to try out blue chairs. Instead, blue is a very safe color to go with because it's not overpowering in any way. It's a very calming color, whereas orange, for example, so that's why we're only using touches of orange in this room. Although, I mean, it's a teens room, so it's a little bit different. It can be energizing if it wants to. However, orange is a very overpowering color, just like red is. Blue is not. So blue for something like a kitchen in a Scandinavian house will be fine. Scandinavians are very, in general, if you think Scandinavian style, you would most likely think of like neutrals, black, white, and then neutrals. So like beige, tones of brown, maybe like a touch of green in there or something. I know people that also add like touches of pastel to their interior without it being like the center of the, oh, I am actually including the laundry room. Look at that. Anyway, but I also know people who have added touches of like pastels to their interior without it being like the center of the decorating. Also touches of gold or silver if you want to, but it's very centered in neutrals. So if you want to add color, just don't go with the bold ones. Go with something like a blue or a green, like colors that aren't too overpowering. Colors that also go well with gray, and blue and green do. So anyway, so yeah, I decided to add add blue chairs, and then I changed my mind. I was like, let's go for the blue counters. And I really like how the kitchen turned out. There's also a touch of pink in there, but anyway, enough about the kitchen. I just like how the kitchen turned out. It's like there's a little bit of color in there, but it's not overpowering in any way. So as for the rest of the video, we are figuring out what this puzzle of a backyard is, but like what's happening with it. Because there was a lot. I was sitting here just looking at it like, I need to make sure that this somehow matches with the front of the house, but there also has to be a little bit more to it because we are building a backyard. So I wanted to make sure, although pools are not necessarily super common in Scandinavia because frankly, it's more like, if anything, it's more like a summer house situation, if you will, instead of like a thing you'd have in your residential home, just because it's cold. So I feel like for some areas it's probably different, but then you'd also, like, you're from a family with money, basically, like a regular Scandinavian house probably wouldn't have a pool. So it's just too cold. So the only one I know that had a pool in my class, she did actually go to my class on the whole year. So like we were like 5 classes on my year or something in high school. Our school system is different. I'm just gonna call it high school, but it's like high school, college, it's a little bit hard to explain. But there was one girl who lived in a house where they had a pool, but her family was rich. So they had an indoors pool too. Yeah, that was the thing. But the rest of us most definitely did not have a pool. So it's just it's a little bit too cold. I don't exactly know what it's like in Norway and Sweden, but I'm assuming that it's about the same because it's colder up there than it is in Denmark because they're further north, of course. But as for everyone that I've known, there's only been this one person with an indoors pool. However, summer houses, different situation. And Danes do love their summer houses. So anyway, this family though, I gave them a pool. They live in Newcrest. It's different. It's just a Scandinavian style house. So they can have a pool because my builds in Scandinavia, that's what I meant to say, in Newcrest often have pools. And I also just had this, like, the house itself is actually pretty small. So I had so much space in the backyard to deal with. So I ended up giving them the pool. They also have this little framed in area over here for a sand pit, actually, where I ended up placing down a monkey jungle bar. I know that's not what they're called, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. And as for the rest, so they have this little pergola situation where I decided to place down a dining table. They also have a couple of kitchen counters actually in one place where there's a sink, because I figured if they ever did any gardening, it would be nice to have access to an outdoors sink, to be honest, just to be able to wash your hands or get water, or even though don't do that when you garden. don't get the water from this, like have like a tube outside or whatever they're called. I don't remember, but don't get the, it's fine. Moving on. So this is the little area down here where I end up placing the sand pit, and the rest is basically just landscaping, trying to place down plants on the platform but still make it look natural and realistic and everything. Also framing up those areas with the grassy patches and placing down some extra bushes on top of that, and also rocks just to make everything blend in together a little bit better. Doing a lot of terrain painting as well, because the entire ground in this backyard is covered with something, whether it's a pool or flooring or I don't know, just terrain paint or grass patches. The entire backyard is covered by something. So I had to do a lot of terrain paint for that as well. And also I like to just make sure that there's a little bit of like, to frame up areas like this, where you frame it up with like a little fence. That's not what those, it's fine. Framed up with a fence, a low fence. I don't know what this is called in English, it's fine. I don't even know what they're called in Danish, but it's fine anyway. I still like to paint underneath it with dirt so that it just looks a little bit more realistic. I think I've actually used the terrain paint, which is supposed to look like gravel in a lot of spaces in this house, but just imagine, or in this backyard and also the front yard, but just imagine that the rugs that I'm placing on top of the gravel are basically like the gravel is around the rug, so that, you know, it's just like around it instead of the rug being on top of, which is supposed to be a stepping stone as well, not a rug, but that's where you find them in the catalog. So the gravel is just like around it. I don't ever use the gravel terrain paint, not often at least. It's rare that I use it, but it looked right for this build, so I decided to go for it. Doing a little bit of landscaping on top of the platforms as well. I feel like it's important when you cover up all the grass in a backyard or a front yard for that matter, it's important to find some kind of balance where you still have plants, because otherwise it's just going to end up looking a little bit too businessy, if you will. I don't know, it makes sense in my head, but I don't really know how to fully explain it, so just had to find a way to make sure that I could still add plants somehow. But other than that, I think that's pretty much what we're doing for the rest of this build. Probably also adding whatever furniture, yes, over here under the pergola, and also the kitchen counters that I placed up underneath. It's on the back patio or whatever that's called. And other than that, we're just doing some terrain paint, I think. So I'm gonna be wrapping up this voiceover now. Also, I just want to quickly remind you that I am running a giveaway, so if you want to join, you can find instructions on how to join over on my community tab. I am giving away 2 packs for The Sims 4, so if you're interested, go check it out. But as for this build, we are getting to the end of it. So if you like the house, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And as always, the trade files can be found over on my Patreon, which will be linked to in the description box down below, as well as in the pinned comment. If you like books, if you like reading, you want to nerd out with me and everyone who's hanging out with me over on my booktube channel, check it out as well. It'll also be linked to in the pinned comment. And that is all I got for you guys today. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!
Even when my teardrops start to dry, even when the sun begins to shine again, I'm taking all the advice there is and none of it has helped. Experience has made me realize that I won't build my life on empty words. Being so damn naive, it only hurts. I'm so tired of love songs, life never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone who wants me to. I've heard every cliche there is and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs, I'm sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. Always thought that love was made for me. Oh well, I was just as blue-eyed as the sky could ever be. Loving you has made me realize I'm so tired of love songs. Life never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone who wants me to. I've heard every cliche there is, and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs. I'm sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of love songs. Sick and tired of love songs. Even when my teardrops start to dry, and even when the sun begins to shine again, I've taken all the advice there is, and none of it has helped. I'm so tired of love